been their problem. Actually getting the ball into the penalty area. It's been getting them into the goal. It's deflected effort here again, which is seeing things away. I'd say for Perth as well as the Wanderers, Grace, if I could make it an issue of semantics, it's not the form line that's troubling, it's the results line. Wanderers haven't actually played that badly. They've been very competitive, just neither love nor money could score goals.
Well, a chance now to right that wrong. Blocked by Diabru. Still with Western Sydney.
But in the reshuffle that's been named to start this team, I think Bosch Cryer catches the eye the most. He's just worked so hard. He's been one of the culprits as far as the goal scoring is concerned, but he's come very close, hit the post a number of times, and I might have been inclined to have tried Bosch Cryer in the front line at centre forward. That's been their issue as far as I can see. At any rate, Gary Van Egmond, hugely experienced, got great capacity as a coach, runs his own eye to things, and has to make certain waves whilst he can.
Pass a little wayward from Kankar. Tanzopoulos close by. Returning to the centre of defence the last couple of weeks as Anthony Tanzopoulos. Daniel Garb is sidelined for us tonight. And Garby, on a scale of 1 to absolutely sweltering, how are you doing down there?
Right at the top of that Richter scale, Grace. It is really uncomfortable down here, I must say. You do actually feel for the players. Walking into the stadium as the Glory trying to launch an attack, you did have question marks as to whether the game would actually go ahead. It feels at about 35 degrees down here. There will be a couple of drinks breaks per half at the 15-minute mark and 30-minute mark. Speaking to a couple of the coaches from either team, they said this feels more like the Middle East than Parramatta. It's really tough for the players to get through this, but hopefully it does cool down as the night gets a little bit longer. I guess if it suits anyone, probably Perth, they'd be more adjusted to it. But this is, really stifling. And Ryan Fraser, the Scottish international, the former Premier League player, is on the bench for Western Sydney this afternoon. He wouldn't have encountered conditions like this in his footballing career ever, you dare say.
Thanks, Garby. Keep a close eye on him. I'm sure he's not used to these conditions whatsoever.
I reckon he'd be looking to flip, turn the tables. Let's have 2 football breaks and an hour and a half of drinking, just to keep hydrated. So it's been a pretty sprightly start from both teams. I think if there's any saving grace, it's that it's a dry type of heat more than a cloistering, humid heat, which is often the case in Sydney. I think if there was humidity, serious humidity attached to this air temperature, then the game's kick-off time might have been jeopardised. But it is a relatively dry heat, however extreme that is. The players have settled well for the first 7 minutes.
Originally slated as a 5 p.m. kickoff. Unfortunately, that change was made early in the piece. 5 p.m. today, it was over 40 degrees here. But it started relatively tidily by both teams considering conditions. Shamoon with a bit to deal with. Offside flag has been raised. Last time these teams met a little earlier in the season, it was a lone goal by Sam Despotowski that day.
And the other consideration, Grace, the number of changes that Manning has made, which is not a surprise in one sense, but given the conditions, you're talking about Kankar's played 1 minute by your reporting. Shakluna hasn't played a full handful of full complement of minutes, nor Aiden Hammond rather. Aiden Simmons has had more football. There's a lot of players out there in the red and black. Steve Ugarkovic has been very peripheral.
Perth with a look forward, searching to Taggart. Header centrally. Takes just a moment for Lawrence Thomas to pull off his line and claim. The aforementioned Ugarkovic, the starting team tonight, just his 8th start, 13th appearance. The rest of those have been off the bench. Turgate turns wide, and the centering pass is flashed away by Wooten. Nice little touch inside, and a wicked shot off the boot of Aidan Simmons. Well, it flashed over the crossbar and created some really good space for himself on the edge of the 18.
Yeah, didn't it? It was a tasty offering there from Gersbeck, hitting the ball clear. That's a really sharp bit of evasive work, and perhaps in the end, for Simmons, the ball just wouldn't quite drop as quickly as he needed. Nevertheless, makes good contact. It's Matthew Sutton, the goalkeeper, dive desperately just in case. Good opening for the Wanderers.
Long goal kick. Pennington tries to scrap for it, tidy up work on the way back to Thomas. Simmons the target, that one harmlessly over the sideline. Sam Sutton plays quickly. Wooden to Kautak, stretching the field through Shamoon. No place in the side tonight for Hiroshi Basuki. Came off the bench last week, 45 minutes for the striker, and Alu Kuol as well. Not picked this evening. Jai Rose, Barry. Omissions tonight for the Wanderers. Here's Diabru. Square now to Bozanovsky. That's read well by Panazopoulos, had to be. Morello just stands on the ball. Now steadies again for Perth. Here's Kautak. Pennington. Patient by Perth, just trying to pick their moment. Shamoon. Hostler's made a run forward. Play breaks down. Here's Perello. Brilliant tackle across by Kautak. Goes to ground well. Gets the timing right. Pennington. Forward to Sutton. Happy to traverse for the time being. Drop in to receive, can face forward. Pennington back to Taggart, a little bit of space, poked away by Shakluna. Nice little touches here from Perth. Taggart can drive in, and Azopoulos is there to sweep away.
That's good sharp play from Perth. Again, this sort of football just reiterates that whilst the accumulation of points is a concern, the lack thereof, and actually the output, generally the effort, the football they've been playing has been very competitive. And their place on the table and the Wanderers for their own part actually underscores just how competitive the league is this season. Points-wise, they're way off the top, but football-wise, they're not that far off. A couple of goals here and there, certainly for the Red and Blacks. Wasn't good enough to save Alan Stedging. And Gary Van Egmond can provide whatever ointment is required for the team to start scoring goals, then the rest of the pieces seem to be there.
It's Coach of the Year, Gary Van Egmond, back in 2007-08, looking after Newcastle. More recently, Hills United, second division of football in New South Wales, a little project there. Van Egmond himself said the call came as somewhat of a surprise.
Well, this time last weekend, it was in fact on Hill's duty, the trial matches.
Nice touch from Borello, Thurgate. Draw the field wide. Nice chance building here for Western Sydney. Square, but the pass is a little behind. Simmons. Skips across 1-2. Still Aiden Simmons. Runs into Osler. And the Wanderers' chance to build. Just conceding a little territory, Western Sydney, as Perth start to pitch forward. Here's Ugarkovic. Barbarousis hugging the touchline. Canizopoulos just assessing the picture in front. Back through Kanka. Nice pass to Borello. Good touches here, Western Sydney. Simmons down the line, Barbarousis can face forward as well. Touches inside to Barbarousis. Space opening up, slays the shot just off the side of the boot. Luna's touch wide to Gersbach. Kenkar again. Fortuitous little deflection. Now Brandon Borello. Simmons inside to Shipluna. Borello. Thurgate. Tidy touches here from the home team. Just looking for an opening that's not showing. Good defensive shape from Perth Glory. Gersbach. Hammond. Thurgate. It's brought to ground. Taggart has a bit of space in front. If he can pick out player wide, and Osler the choice, but doesn't quite have the reach.
Well, he needed to take that in stride. Trent Osler. It was a good piece of defensive play from the Perth wide player. Dispossessing Thurgate, launching the attack. Square ball in to Taggart, who returned serve to Osler, who had the chance to take the ball in stride and missed that opportunity.
First drinks break of the afternoon. Daniel Garb, how are you doing down there?
Look, it's just cooling down a touch, just a touch. And we could do with a drop of another 5 degrees perhaps. These drinks breaks, much needed. It is stifling, but it is just starting to cool as well. So that is encouraging, but not enough to alter the drinks break plan for this game. There'll be 2.5, another one at the half-hour mark. I guess something that's been interesting to notice in the first half has been the deployment of Steven Ugarkovic. It was such a big talking point, I guess, in the Allen Stage reign. The way he was using Ugarkovic out on the right-hand side, he never really seemed settled, having played all of his football career in the centre of midfield. There's Ugarkovic, there's Volante, there's Thurgate. A lot of people thought that would be the base of this Wanderers side. Harps, he looks like he's playing a little bit more centrally this afternoon. Yes, floating out to the right on occasion, but in his more comfortable role, and perhaps he's getting more involved as a result. What have you made of the change by Gary Benigmont?
Yeah, look, it makes a lot of sense to me. And whilst it's true that the Wanderers have been very competitive, a couple of goals here and there would have changed the whole discussion around the team. At the same time, Garby, it's the selections and the personalities in some senses just didn't seem to fit the positions, and that was a comment that's been made and in analysing from game to game, but Allen Stage had in mind what he had in mind and he persevered. To have Ugarkovic in the centre of midfield, to me it was either he or Brillante in the centre of the field, not one at right midfield, and that's where it's fallen today. If the Wanderers don't score and don't win, it doesn't matter about the change of personnel. They've got to use the freshness that's come with the coaching change, if there is any, to their advantage today. And the players who've got their chance have to ram that chance home, or else they're back after 90 minutes where they started.
Back underway after a short drinks break, and I'm sure an appreciated one by the players. Big switch of play, lovely touch. Experience, Costa Barbarousis. Has a bit of space in front. Here is Garkovic. Carries across through Gersbach. Hammond. There's a couple of Perth players for company. Garkovic has travelled all the way across to the far touch side. Now Kenkar, who's finding a bit of space, thought perhaps about the long range effort. It's a disciplined defensive block that the Wanderers just trying to patiently pick apart. Searching ball over the top from Panazopoulos and Costa Barbarousis. Well, the offside flag nonetheless is raised.
Just saw in that drinks break we had a nice little Gary Linkmine as he was talking to a couple of his players. One of them was Costa Barbarousis, and you could tell by the body language of the instruction that Costa's just followed the instruction given to him about breaking the line in the drinks break, but he forgot his technique in the key moment. They mustn't forget their technique because the rest of it is rendered useless otherwise.
Centering pass is delightful. The shot from Taggart straight into the chest of Lawrence Thomas. That opened up very well for Perth. Found themselves back in their attacking half. Just little flashes at the moment. Shaboon drives inside to Diabrou. Now Pennington, nice touch by Pennington. A little shove from Shakluna. Just a second start, Dylan Shakluna.
It's a great opportunity this. As Thomas had the angle covered and lovely ball from Lawrence. And what a pickup he's been for Perth Glory, hitting some great form. He's a fine, fine player. Tackett's a fine, fine striker. He probably should have done more with that. Cheap foul to concede by Shakluna. Opened things up more than he needed to. Pennington taking advantage before he was put on his backside.
So Lawrence will be the taker and has a goal himself. Almost caught Lawrence Thomas unawares, but he's across to cover well.
In the end, reasonably comfortable, but it's a cheeky effort. And it needed that little scramble from Thomas. Just to underscore the quality. Thomas.
Good luck to me. With a corner. Near post, and it's a little lost in traffic. Simmons can exploit the space in front. Shimuna needing a little support, hurried along by Lawrence. I've seen this picture a few times. Game of cat and mouse. Perth just inviting Western Sydney to try and find a way through. Inching forward on the space. Anticipated well by Diabru. It's brought to ground.
Well, Perth Glory, when you put CVs up against player, they're heavily outgunned in the centre of their midfield. Experience-wise, achievement-wise, they're not evidently on talent and hunger-wise. Diabru's made a great start to his career. And you put Heaney next to Reece Bozanovsky, and another fine young emerging player, but up against them is Stevie Garkovic, hundreds of games, championship, Thurgate, one of the most sought-after players. Immediately opposite, not a lot of penetration coming through midfield by the senior tearing there in red and black.
Nice work by Sam Sutton. Pennington brought to ground by Kankar. Nick Pennington has been really impressive for Perth since returning as a regular to their midfield. Struggled with a bit of a groin injury at the start of the season. Back fully fit now and deployed in a slightly wider area, which he spoke about throughout the week, that he's happy to do the job that he's given for the team. Way back through Sutton and Wooten. Caltac combined. It's a tough ask for Shamoon. So the build begins again. Here's Kankar. Thurgate's run was on but not found by Phil Kankar. Straight pass right down the middle. Kankar finds another time. Borello pushed backwards by Caltac, but does find a way forward through Hammett. Now Garkovic. Gersbach and Thurgate tries for the little chip over the top. Garkovic with another chance perhaps. Over the top from Pantazopoulos. Hammond not quite anticipating that ball. Well, if Western Sydney find a win tonight, they move off the foot of the table, jumping over the Central Coast Mariners, but still sitting behind Perth. If Perth find all 3 points, they move into 8th position, just behind Melbourne City. Barbarouses faces forward through the line to Borello. Thurgate is central. Touched by Borello, and now Simmons to build up again. Wooten anticipates the header. Sustained passage this by the Wanderers. Gersbach wheels around. Back through Hammond. Garkovic. Just edging closer. Barbarouses good strength on the ball. Nice turn. Little swivel. Side to Borello, tries to fashion a touch, but Pennington is positioned well. It's a heavy challenge across from Borello. Absolutely clatters Pennington.
generally well defended by Perth around their penalty area. They've had a fair bit of possession. There's heavy contact from Barella. Hennington base over Apex. Second time in just a few minutes. The Perth wingman just running aground the Western Sydney effort around the Perth penalty area. It's full of intent, but lacks a little bit of movement and freshness, a little bit of innovation. A good base of good foundation of possession they've enjoyed. Just someone needs to cut loose, preferably 2 or 3 together in combination. Get in behind the Perth defence, which is grouped nicely, and they're defending their own penalty area.
Lawrence, a little word of warning there from referee Ben Abrams. Again, the pass from Kankar seems to be one-track mind for Western Sydney at the moment. Hammond, heavy challenge through Shamoon. Thurgate. The industry of Angus Thurgate, as always. Darkovic wide now to Simmons. Teams recognise that they can't press at a rate of knots in conditions like they're dealing with today. Ugarkovic, more moments like this. Barello, nice turn from Brandon Barello. Well fashioned, just little flashes of brilliance, just missing the final touch.
Well, they got something around the edge of the box this time. Nice turn from Brandon Barello. The pass from defence in the midfield has been good as a pattern from the Wanderers. And then the pass, when it's been open enough from midfield to attack, has been good and direct. But they haven't had that little moment around the box of someone with a run or a touch to beat and get behind the defender into space. Barello did on that occasion.
Western Sydney, Thurgate's corner, nice delivery. Sutton is out. Shamoon up against Shakluna. Shakluna flashes at the cross. Second drinks break of the afternoon. Garby, what are you seeing from the visiting side in Perth Glory?
Well, Adam Griffiths is definitely the unhappier of the two coaches, no doubt about that. He shouted out a couple of times to his team in that first half, we're giving away the ball far too much. He said to his side, it's far too hot for us to do that. We're going to make it very, very difficult if we keep playing like this. So they seem to be well set up defensively, Perth, but when they've got the ball, they aren't making too many inroads, especially with the quality of that man on screen, Adam Taggart and Tom Lawrence as well. They have one of the best strike forces in the competition, and they've got to find a way to utilise them a bit more at the moment. They're just giving up far too much of possession. You can see how unhappy Adam Griffiths is with the performance so far.
Garby, second drinks break of this first half. So just over the 30-minute mark. Neither side able to break the deadlock just yet. A couple of little chances, half chances. Perth, you'd have to say, with the better of them. With clearer cut opportunities, good plays. Lawrence across to Taggart. Certainly a game of cat and mouse at the moment. The Big Blue, less than 24 hours away. And that is going to be an almighty clash. And if you want, you can send in some questions to our experts on the panel. Certain Archie Thompson, Alex Brosk. Head on to Paramount Plus socials and ask whatever you like of those two. Players meandering out back onto the field for a little under 15 minutes of this first half. Western Sydney yet to fashion a shot on target, despite having some very good chances toward the end of that passage just before the drinks break. So retreating is Simmons through Panasopoulos. It's a nice pass if Hammond can make it work. Certain hush across Combank Stadium. That pass, read by Pennington, left short by Panasopoulos, not made the most of by Tom Lawrence. Sutton to Sutton. And Wootton moving wide through Caltac, stretching the field and using every inch of Combank Stadium surface. It's looking good there today. Western Sydney throw. Goes back to Pantasopoulos. Of course, Anthony Pantasopoulos is one of the players that didn't travel with the under-23 Aussie side. Stayed and continued football with the Wanderers. Caltac is up to challenge Borello. Sutton has a bit of space in front. And opts to go back through Wootton. Square again to Caltac. Sutton's made a move. Pass anticipated well by Simmons. Long raking pass, diagonal ball is delightful to find. Trent Ostler looks to push it past Gersbach, but it's really well defended by Alex Gersbach.
Yeah, one of the things that Perth haven't been able to do, Grace, which is a function of their inability to keep the ball long enough, identified by their very own coach, Adam Griffiths. But part of that manifestation is not getting Trent Ostler into the game. He's been one of their very good players this year, I think. Doesn't get the plaudits that he deserves, very much, in my opinion, an underrated player. And if Perth can find a way to keep the ball and in doing so get Ostler more into the game, things could turn more definitively into their favour.
Perth again. Lawrence facing forward, just going to Diabrou. Again, Lawrence, who doesn't mind retreating deep to pick up possession. Stephen Garkovic is a little slow to return to his feet. Here is Lawrence. It's a nice ball to Taggart. Pennington give and go to Taggart. Oh, wonderful save by Lawrence Thomas. Offside flag raised nonetheless, but that's an important bit of goalkeeping. Trent Ostler has had a really sound season for Perth and is a glory boy through and through. Goal and a couple of assists has come up in some really important moments.
I'm glad he's certainly having a good season. I've always been surprised that he hasn't. Maybe he has, we just don't get to read about it. Some of the darker days in Perth, he wasn't identified by a rival club and brought to a new opportunity. He would have been on my shopping list, that's for sure. It's good to see him playing for his hometown club and doing so well.
It's kicked up in the middle of the park. Bozanovsky. Here is Osler. This battle building nicely between him and Gersbach. Hammond picks the pocket. Borello, his touch just escapes him.
Well, that was a mind games effort, that little exchange. He's realised if he needed reminding Brandon Borello that one-on-one Brian Kaltak is really hard to deal with, get away from. He had that moment where a touch here or a half step there and he might have had the better of Kaltak, but he knew he had to get it right in the end. The cross purposes affected him. In the turnaround generally that's been Perth, Grace, since Adam Griffiths has been given the gig, the player whose output has been most profoundly and positively affected is Kaltak. He was a shadow of his former self in the first few games as a glory player. He's back to some of his best. Championship defender, of course, with the Mariners.
Solid back three, Kaltak, Wood and Matt Sutton, who have clung on to those defensive positions, played every single minute for Perth of the campaign, and Kaltak, you're right, has just gotten better and better as the season's worn on. 5 minutes until half time. Temperature dropping ever so slightly at Combank Stadium. The match so far is suiting that of a very hot afternoon. Players just picking moments to spring forward. Taggart perhaps thinking this could be one of them. Thomas Long back into the Wanderers attacking half. Borello is first to it. Offside flag raised. Slight pressure coming through from Western Sydney. Osler hurried back, Shamoon. Sutton short to Kaltak. Lawrence and Shamoon, and now Osler is driven inside. Pennington puts on the afterburners. A reversal angle pass to Taggart is neat. Pennington has continued his run. Pennington, and the save again by Lawrence Thomas is class.
Well, Trent Osler, ignoring the run of Pennington in the first instance, he was preferring to go to Taggart. I guess I understand why, but Taggart thought, don't blow that, giving it to Pennington. He's in front of goal. And he forced another good save from Lawrence Thomas. He's been back in some promising nick. One of the saves, a very good one, of course, became a moot point anyway because of the offside call, but nevertheless, he had to make the save on 2 or 3 other occasions. He's been very sharp today, Lawrence Thomas.
Has, despite a difficult year for Western Sydney, Lawrence Thomas has continued with some very good moments out the back. Just a game that's being managed at the moment.
Managed, but as we creep towards half-time, as unhappy as Adam Griffiths sounds like he's been, it's Perth that have had the better of the chances.
Maybe another building here. Taggart with space in front. Thinks about the shot, takes it. Deflection once, twice over. Chances building for Perth, but maybe some defending to do. Kaltak misreads the touch on that occasion. Shamoon is across, but Hammond is rapid. Has space now. Borello in the centre of the park. Ugarkovic arriving if the pass can be picked out. And again, it's a little deflection at either end, resulting in Western Sydney corner.
Well, in the end, was it a tied execution from Aidan Hammond. He did well to win the ball, then had to hair after it. He's got so much time here. It's really a nothing delivery. Like you hasten to not be too critical given the conditions, but that could have been a moment that sets the team into half time with a goal. Tough ask on the players, but that's the ask, and he had time to deliver something there.
Still time to deliver something on this corner. Thurgate, the in-swinger, to a good area. Sutton is up and out again. Shamoon helps on. It's been strong coming out to punch Matt Sutton. Shakluda drags a touch back to a more central position. Panazopoulos will wind one up, blocked by Pennington. The game slowing to a walk. Three minutes of stoppage time. 3 minutes, and then a cool break for the players. That's a tired touch. Plenty of strike power on the bench for both teams. Some experience on the Wanderers bench, some returning youngsters on the Glory bench. Plenty to think about at half-time for both coaches. Glancing header on, Kankar cross his pass back to Thomas. Nice touch from Woodman. It's Caltech. Shamoon's pass to no one in particular. Thurgate turns and faces Varello. Wide through Simmons. Finds a bit of space and Thurgate is there again, blocked by Diabrou. For a moment it looked like it would have been a Wanderers corner. Instead, it's well worked by the 18-year-old Giovanni Diabrou for a Perth goal kick. Both sides seem fairly content with just seeing out the first half. Sutton's goal kick takes a little slip. Panazopoulos is up. Now Caltech. Zanowski helps back from where it came. Thurgate charged through the back, nothing given, says the referee. An aerial battle at the moment. Pennington tidies up. Now Osler. Treating Hammond off his shoulder. Lawrence leaves. Anticipated the pass well. There's a half-time whistle. Oh, Ben Abrahams ringing out at Combank Stadium. It's a cagey first half, hot conditions, stifling for both sets of players. 2 drinks breaks we saw across the course of that first 45 minutes. Neither side able to break the deadlock. So half-time at Combank Stadium. It's Western Sydney Wanderers 0, Perth Glory 0. We'll grab a quick refreshment, but don't move too fast. The halftime show is...
Let's mulai ngantuk.
Nó nggak pulang, tinggal lihat nih. Dia nggak pulang. Dia nggak pulang. Kakak tinggal.
Ulang tahun.
Selamat ulang tahun Baran.
YouTube-nya kayak bingung ngomongnya.
Hah?
YouTube-nya nggak ai bingung ngomongnya.
Kalau bakso ya, makan bakso ya. Ya. Nah, bakso nasi ya. Kamu mau bakso apa dulu? Kemarin bingung deh. Kayak apa? BAKUL. Yo respon dulu. Entah. Pulang.
Yes. Ya. Hah? Ya. Mo. 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 Sembah. 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 Enggak ikut jemaah. Mau kucing mau. Hei, mau. Hei. Mau. Ini sekali juga. Karena mama tuh ibu bareng ibu. Bareng ibu. Kayak karena mama. Sendale.
Sandal. Mana sandal mah? Terus dipakai.
But he's going to have to. Socceroos thing is a goal for his. He's going to have to package his first half,
Yeah.
multiply it for the rest of the competition.
He's been given the captain's armband this afternoon with Josh Brillante moved to the bench, and he's had a very big half so far. It's been a very big week for West Ham. So obviously the big talking point was Alan Stage being shown the door and Gary Van Egmond coming in as the interim coach. They also made a really big signing, though. That of Ryan Fraser, 31 years of age, 26 times a Scottish international, and spent more than a decade in the English Premier League with Bournemouth, Newcastle United and Southampton. He was playing at the English top flight up until a couple of seasons ago, and this season was playing in the Championship with Southampton. So the pedigree halves is of a very high level. We always query the conditioning, of course, but
Apa?
Pokoknya ceplosan dewek iki.
Oh. Saya sakit.
Heeh. Saya tak paham.
Mungkin tesih niki mah tesih normal. Tinggal lagi. Suara. Kenapa? Oh, ini kok game pun.
Oh, ijo-ijoan iya sih.
Oh, oke.
Aku ya.
Nggak ada nama apa. Sana.
On Lawrence Thomas in goal for the Wanderers. But some fresh legs on for the visiting team. One of those there, Seb Despotovsky. 45 minutes ahead of him. And Perth to get things underway, lining up. Numbers on the halfway line, ready to stream forward. And it is Wooten who will send it long and hopeful in search of Pennington. Second half charge, plenty to play for. A draw not really helpful for either of these sides at this point in the season. So Seb Despotovsky replacing Trent Ostler. And now a nice move forward by Tom Lawrence. Kanka interrupts. Now Bozanovsky. Sutton looking sharp out of the sheds. Back through Caltac. The other change for Perth. Will Freeney returning from injury and replacing Giovanni Diabreu. So 2 changes so far for the visiting team. Wanderers yet to turn to their bench, but no doubt we'll see some fresh legs join the fray shortly thereafter. Andy Harper, what do you make of those 2 changes?
Not sure. Not sure. At half-time, in the sheds, in hot conditions, it might just be a physical thing. You know, some players really find that they're going tough. Ostler was finding it difficult to get into the game. Maybe it was deemed that that was as much his fault as the team's inability to get him the ball. And in the centre of midfield, Will Freeney's had a terrific year, and as soon as he's ready to play, you can just imagine that the coaches thought, well, now's the time. Just not been keeping the ball as well as we might. The youngster, Debray, has done well. Maybe time for him to take a break. It's not the most scientific answer to your question, Grace, but that's what I got.
Mix of art and science, Andy Harper. I don't mind it. But some young players, both 20 years old, Seb Despotovsky and Will Freeney. And certainly the difference in experience on these two benches, rather. Perth Glory, their average age on the bench, 21 years old. Western Sydney, 27. This goes back. It's pass inside. Caltac read well. Thurgate does get the return ball from Shakluna. Now Hammond skips past Shaboon very well. Aidan Hammond, nice bit of play here. A deflection. Well, that's a nice run. Good bit of individual skill from Aidan Hammond.
Yeah, very sharp, very direct and exciting. Actually had the defence backpedaling. Got rid of Shamoon with a nice jink and then cuts inside again, and Caltac just covering brilliantly. I mean, if Brian Caltac mightn't be at the very top of his game because that's such an elite level, but he's getting close. That was an incredible stretch and needed to be. He lost the ball on halfway, which so exemplifies his athleticism in getting back to make that block.
Western Sydney corner. Kankar not happy. Suggesting maybe some contact at the back post. Nonetheless, the corner is long and high. New coach Gary Van Egmond yet to turn to his substitutes. But the teaser half-time from Daniel Garb that we will see Scottish international Ryan Fraser for 20 or 30 minutes. It's well worked. Lawrence, body's flying in the middle of the park, through the legs. Lawrence, incredible ability just to drive with the ball at his feet. Now Bozanovsky, good numbers in the middle for Perth. The ball comes through. It's just asking, begging, but it's too long from Bozanovsky.
Well, the Perth coaches are asking the question, why was their player on around the 6-yard box allowed to be brought down in their eyes as Tom Lawrence was breaking down the left?
Second ball on the field of play, so the referee Ben Abrahams just slows things down for a minute. Perth back underway. Bozanovsky face forward. Freeney. Bozanovsky again. Turns on the ball. Tug of the shirt, surely. Shakluna, the little hand of apology.
I'm not sure that's not a yellow card, actually. Look, it does brilliantly here, Bozanovsky. He wins that his away. Dribbles the ball. Attracts the attention of central defenders. Maybe drags them out of position. And, okay, the free kick, big deal. But the referees allow that illegality to stop an attacking play.
Just played a bit over 300 minutes, Dylan Shakluna, but already has 3 cards, yellow cards to his name. This is a good chance over the top. Despotovsky, that's a good ball. Not enough Perth shirts in the box. Taggart just behind Pantazopoulos. Lawrence wins back possession for the visiting team. Despotovsky again. Clipped pass forward. Pushing it a bit far for Bozanovsky to chase. Western Sydney can advance. Again, much as we saw in that first half, defensive block just waiting for the pass to be threaded through. There it is, read by Shamoon. Now Taggart is onside here, but the pass just skips through the line of defence, and Lawrence Thomas, who had an excellent first half, is there to collect. Kankar over the top, Borello. hidden hope at the moment.
Waktu ni ada start ya.
Freeney to Kautak. Shamoon and Despotovsky. Wayward pass. Field's starting to become stretched. Ugarkovic finds a bit of healthy space. Freeney, very cleverly done. Boos crying out around Combank Stadium. Okay. It's just a cutting edge that's missing from this evening's game so far. What's been said about the conditions, but it hasn't been a game without its chances. Perth, some decent ones in the first half. Garkovic turning over the legs. Fergate is left to be cleaned up. Lozanovsky. Lawrence. Turn and face releases. Despotovsky is crossed back to Lawrence as well. Just bobbles. Temptingly, but to no one in particular. No attempt to win the ball back. Perth just gradually getting numbers back behind the ball. Simmons. Starting to edge forward, Perth Glory, as the passes retreat for the Wanderers. Panizopoulos thinks about it, hits over the top. Borello, a willing runner, nice touch. Shamoon steals it away from under his feet. Well defended, Charbel Shamoon. Now a bit of pressure from Western Sydney. Kautak. Despotovsky does really well with that first touch. Taggart just held back, needed to approach Barbarousis. Turn in front of himself, comes to Barbarousis. A little deflection yet again.
A great positive play from Panizopoulos to win the ball, pass incisively. He continued his run, actually, added numbers to the penalty area. As Costa Barbarousis jinked and jived on the edge of the box, Panizopoulos gives and goes, and Costa kept squirming and turning until he could find some sort of avenue to goal. Corner results. They've floated in some potentially dangerous balls from corners, the Wanderers, but not look dangerous on the end of it. Let's see if they can change that.
Another corner for the night again. It's long and it's high. Panizopoulos, the target, claimed easily by Matt Sutton right in front of the RBB.
The RBB get an authorised drinks break. They've been fantastic today. Numbers down a bit, and their only answer in dealing with the heat is to take their shirts off. Their output has been as energetic as ever.
Perth advance forward. Here's Shamoon. Tom Lawrence, who's dropped deep to collect possession. Freeney spins on the ball. Shamoon, the touch almost escaped him. Perth have done well. Despotovsky. Pennington runs into Thurgate, affords his team a corner. Shamoon must have a little chat with Adam Griffiths just moments ago. The solitary player just sitting back to provide a bit of cover, but now Perth a chance. This time the in-swinger. This ball right up to the 6-yard box hasn't quite been dealt with. Still Taggart can turn on a dime. He's had some good moments, Adam Taggart.
Half chances often enough for Adam Taggart, tough as that one was. It was Brian Kaltak causing the nuisance value, which contributed to the ball ending up in the Taggart postcode. And his shot on the turn wasn't able to be controlled, but on another day, same chance goes in the back of the net. He remains an ever-present danger for the Wanderers, Adam Taggart.
Does indeed. And a goal away from surpassing Eddie Keogh as Perth's all-time leading goal scorer. Another moment for the history books. Should he be able to capitalise on that? It's a lovely switch of play, almost from Panazopoulos. It looked like it was going to drop delightfully. It's a big game next week for Western Sydney. They're at Allianz against Sydney FC, Sydney Derby. Always an occasion in the calendar. They'll want to take a bit of momentum into that one. And they've still got 30 odd minutes or so to make it happen here tonight. Perth, they're back at home next weekend against Auckland, who've had a little stumble of their own in recent weeks. Cheeky by Despotovsky over the top to Taggart. He's kept himself on side, maybe just. Square now to Lawrence. Pennington inside and Panazopoulos is there. Side flag does eventually go off. Well, triple change here for the home side. Washington Cryan returns from illness last week. Josh Brillante for his 13th appearance of the season. Brandon Borello departing, and it is an A-League debut for the 31-year-old Ryan Fraser, the Scottish international. Vastly experienced, 26 caps for his country, spent a lot of time in the Premier League, Championship, which our first drinks break of the second half. Daniel Garb, what do you make of it down there?
Yeah, much the same as the first. The heat definitely taking its toll, but now we've seen a raft of changes, and that is an exciting introduction, that of Ryan Fraser. He was a star in the Premier League not too long ago with Bournemouth, a big move to Newcastle United. He was playing there with Southampton only a couple of seasons ago, played 16 times in the Championship with Southampton this season. So, as we said at half-time, there is a whole lot of pedigree when it comes to Ryan Fraser and a whole lot of enthusiasm inside the stadium that he can be a game changer for this football club in the second half of the season. The RBB are in fine voice, their shirts are off, and there's a nice collection of Perth Glory fans as well on the other side of the ground, it must be said, who are here to support their team. They've had some really good crowds in the West over the last few weeks, 12 to 13,000 on a couple of occasions. Speaking to Stan Lazaridis, the Director of Football there at Perth Glory, before the game. He's commonplace, isn't he? He's at every single Perth Glory game on the Eastern Seaboard, that gentleman. He said there is a real connection now between the fans and the club that has resumed this season. A name like Despotovsky on the bench doesn't hurt, and I guess the media work of Adam Griffiths doesn't hurt either. It's a bit like the old Bernd Stunger days, Harps, when you've got those lines in the media that make headlines and get a few more people through the gates.
Great days. Is Adam Griffiths, the mountain goat, the next Bernd Stanger? Because Bernd could come up with a line or two. And waiting for the Ryan Fraser autobiography, where his first reflection on the A-League was, as soon as I took the field, I was in a drinks break. His first action as an A-League import. He takes the field and immediately goes to a drinks break. Beautiful.
Oh, welcome to the A-League, Ryan Fraser. Thanks, Daniel Garb. Well, 3 changes there for Western Sydney. The first thing they'll have to do is defend. Here's Pennington. Despotovsky is on. That's a lovely challenge from Simmons, and he had to get that perfect. He did. Here's Cryan, his first touches, first introduction to the game. Here's Fraser, he's rapid. Shamoon wants to slow him down. Rolante, substitute as well, inside to Shakluna. Skips to the right, now Kankar. As numbers lining up, Western Sydney. Gersbach. Fraser. Left-footed winger, cuts on his right. Inside to Shakluna. Bryant, good hold-up play, strong. Cross comes Pennington.
Well, that's the first thing, I guess, to note of the changes made by Gavin Egmont, and that is to put Bojidar Kryev in to replace Brendan Morello as the centre forward. So half into that in the first period of the game. I think I'm looking forward. If that's going to be a more permanent thing, I think he's been great this season with work rate. I prefer Kryev as a striker. He might be able to fill that hole.
Barbarousse is blocked. Of course, the absence tonight, Iwasuki, Qual, not in the squad at all. Confirmation of those changes, it was Garkovic making way, Hammond and Morello. Here comes Fraser, puts on the afterburners. Bozanovsky looks to keep check, ball is centred, nodded away by Wooden, had to be there. Volante. Just a bit of an edge starting to grow since those substitutes. Bit of energy lifting. It's Fraser on the ball, slips through Gersbach. That's a lovely cut back. Freeney's there first, Pennington. Coolly done by Nick Pennington, but only to Brillante, Shakluna. Thurgate, well worked to Barbarousis, and Fraser, nor Gersbach is there for the back heel.
Well, a little bit of a chat just gone through the Wanderers with those changes. Very promising first touches from Fraser. And perhaps unsurprisingly, his new teammates are looking for him immediately.
You can see his pace, Ryan Fraser, the moment he gets on the ball. Question around the conditions and how many repeat sprints he'll have in tonight. 20-30 minutes was the suggestion from Gary Van Egmont. He's gone for the latter. So let's see what Fraser can do. Kryev leading the point. That's a heavy touch at the back. A risky work there from Freeney, but he's done well. Lawrence, if he can find Pennington, had a bit of space. That's since closed. Maybe a little slow to find the pass. Now Thurgate. Voice from the RBB rising. Pokes through from Barbarousis, back with Barbarousis again. That's great work from Bozanovsky. Lawrence has to come to that ball. Volante. Kankar. Now Gersbach. Fraser. Patient this from Western Sydney. Edging out possession, the home side, still yet to register a shot on target. Shakluna to Gersbach. Kraev is an option if he can be slipped through. Bozhidar Kraev counts active beat. Good save down to his left foot. Matt Sutton. Good goalkeeping. Shikluna hurries along Shamoon. He's grappling on the ground to win out pole position. Shamoon almost does well. Fraser now. Gersbach. Galante. Just trying to work a way through here, the Wanderers. Gersbach, the willing run, well worked.
Well, they had some good passages in the first half. Started brightly, the Wanderers became a little bit of a grind for them. But Grace, now they're looking likely, actually. That would have been a line ball one for offside. If it goes in, the lines would have been out, but Kraev showing his value as a point man. The Wanderers, I think for the first time in the game, clearly enjoying the ascendancy.
A little sharpness has come in the last few minutes. Thurgate, his corner. Swinger drops it on the 6-yard box away from Wootton. Wanderers yet to score from a single corner this season. Shikluna looks to get it back in. Barbarousis was first to it. It's definitely building. A little over 20 minutes to play. Zopolis hanging on the left-hand side. It's Zeiss's pass to Thurgate. Freddie's done well. Shamoon off the boot of Fraser.
Freddie's had to be right on in that penalty area of his. He's been excellent in those really tight line ball exchanges.
In no hurry to take this, Charbel Shamoon. Possession inching the way of the home side. Forward drive Simmons. Releases Barbarousis. Pass just a little behind him on his left, blocked by Pennington. Happy to help that out to relieve the pressure. Sustained period here from Western Sydney. Fraser with space. Drives toward traffic. To pick out Western Sydney shirt. Spatovsky off the shoulder. Fraser goes back again. Kraev posting up as an option with Celtic right behind him. Wanderers switching the point of attack. Simmons. That's a nice play. Looking across to cover. Well, it's an awkward run at the back. Fraser looking to announce himself. Thurgate now. That was the chance. Should be 1-0 Western Sydney.
Well, it's just such a familiar sight. The Wanderers 2 efforts on goal, both beaten away, and when it falls with a clear path to goal to player number 3, or chance number 3, the easy bit is muffed. And it's not a dead set sitter, but it's pretty close. Thurgate doesn't score a lot of goals, not as many as he might, given his quality, and really that should have been 1-0 for the Wanderers. And it would have capped off this resurgent period for them.
I think Sergei will be the first to put his hand up and say as much. Countdown is on. 34 days until the AFC Women's Asian Cup. What a special month that will be across March. The game live on Paramount Plus. The Matildas back on home soil. And this little break in play is leaving Angus Thurgate to rue that missed opportunity. Hasn't yet scored for the Wanderers. A couple last year with Western United. Certainly not a prolific goal scorer. That was an opportune moment. 12 shots at goal for Western Sydney, 5 for Perth, but just one of those for the home side have been on target. Much is the story of their season. So inside 20 minutes to play at Combank, still 0-0. Charbel Shamoon just got a little bit of treatment to leave the field of play, so Perth momentarily a player down. And he comes onto the field of play. Okay, to continue. Western Sydney. They go back to move forward. Panazopoulos. Lovely left boot of his. Stretches the field to Barbarousis. Pennington. Big swing. Then Abraham over for a quick talk. No card produced. It's down the line. Again, Barbarousis. That's a wonderful centering pass. Kriev right on the mark, but denied. Caltech again is keeping close quarters. Tom Lawrence now skips through. All the way back through Lawrence Thomas. It's been a largely tightly held defensive game. Space between the lines just starting to become a little stretched as fatigue wears in. Panazopoulos to Shakluna, first time around the corner, works out really well to Ryan Fraser. Has space in front, Kriev the option. Otherwise, no Western Sydney shirts to aim for. Now Perth, Pennington, and is blocked by Kankar.
Well, disappointing for the Wanderers. Shakluna found Fraser really nicely, and Fraser one touch to control and centred the ball at the earliest opportunity thereafter with Kriev the target, and it was a beautiful idea. It just overhit the delivery. Otherwise, Kriev is in on goal, as he was just a moment ago, but for Brian Caltech, who's been outstanding tonight. I think so far, as tough as the game has been for the players, Grace, and chances have been hard to come by for one reason or another, there are two clear reasons, one for each team, why it scores. Lawrence Thomas for the Wanderers and Brian Caltech for Perth.
Busy nights for the both of them. Here is Brian Caltech on the ball. Surely, I think Adam Griffiths soon to turn to his bench to dig into some of the stocks, the attacking stocks on the field, replacing heavy legs. Kriev has looked good since coming on, of course, returning from illness, unavailable last week. He was unwell. Quick throw. It's Tom Lawrence. Faces forward, thinks about delivery, slows it down just a little. Now Freeney. Caltech. Wide to Shamoon, but that pass has gone begging. Second drinks break of the half. So let's send it back down, sideline to Daniel Garb.
Well, I really enjoyed the battle between Anthony Pantasopoulos and Adam Taggart throughout this game. The two number 22s, two of the best players in the competition. Adam Taggart has barely left the shoulder of Anthony Pantasopoulos throughout this contest, and Panther, as he so often does, is rising to the occasion and relishing the battle. Very rare that you see such a direct contest, but that's the way Adam Taggart plays. And Anthony Pantasopoulos, we've spoken about it so many times this season, his positional shift has been a big talking point. Wanderers certainly get the best out of him at left back, but he adds so much to this team when he's in the heart of the defence from a personality point of view. And that's been an engrossing contest, Harps.
Well, certainly Taggart's been a lot quieter in the second half, had some good chances in the first, but I think his prominence has been reduced by the rise of the Wanderers, and that was completely coinciding with the last drinks break, Garby. Remarkable how the mood of a team can change so dramatically on a single thing. And I guess you have to put that down to the inclusion of Ryan Fraser. I'm struggling to find another answer to where the Wanderers' energy has come from. They've clearly looked the team most likely of the two to go on and get the 3 points since that time.
So Adam Griffiths turns to his bench for the third change of the night. Nicholas Pennington makes way, and it's a warm welcome return to Stefan Kolakowski in Perth Glory colours. Most recent A-League experience was last season with the Wellington Phoenix before doing his ACL December 2024, but Kolakowski has returned far and fit for the remainder of the season to Perth as a free agent. He's replaced Nick Pennington. Caltech put under pressure by Cryer. Sutton. First touch for Kolakowski inside. Can't quite escape Brillante and the pressure from Simmons. Kenka. Simmons wide. Long switch of play to Fraser is beautiful, as is the touch to match. Ryan Fraser drives inside, has a bit of space, his touch too long. Again, we'll look for that pass. This time Wooten's there. Action areas and Fraser again on the ball. It's been a real live wire since coming on. It's an important header from Shamoon. Bozanovsky. Dances about the ball well to keep possession for Perth. Inside 10 minutes of regulation time to play. You do wonder if either side will just start to throw a bit more at it. They settle for the draw. Is a point enough? Surely, most teams desperate of the full 3 points. You just wonder if we'll start to see a bit more pressure coming through. Sutton has space. Side to Freeney. Let me check over the shoulder. Heavy coming together of bodies, free kick the way of Western Sydney. Cryer grappling with Caltac. Brillante, positive first touch. Cryer. The angle taken a little wide. Fraser was an option underneath. Crave will get another chance. Long, high loop in and plenty of time, but Costa Barbarousis is still there. Sam Sutton didn't read the flight of the ball quite well enough. Barbarousis, Brillante, Kolakovsky steers Brillante backwards. Here's Fraser. Side to Thurgate. Kenkar winds up a long strike and hits it really well. Well, he got a nice piece of that. Philip Kenkar brought himself with a bit of ground to ground.
Coming on replay. Kenkar, that was attempted in the first half to shoot from range. That he opted against, and this time he backs himself. Had some nice curl on it. Sutton did well to beat it away.
Hit it so hard. Gave himself a bit of cramp. Good to see he's back to his feet. A couple of changes coming through. Taggart making way. And a welcome return of Jaden Kucharski. Just his 7th appearance of the campaign.
Well, this is Kucharski time. The Wanderers fans won't need reminding. He's made a habit of coming on late, scoring in derbies for Sydney. Moved to Perth for some more regular game time, was starting well over there, and then injury has taken him out of calculation. But back on the bench today. 83 minutes, tiring defences. It's Kucharski time.
Well, you've called it, Harps, and surely Perth fans watching on hoping the exact same thing. Shikluna dragged back from Bozanowski, and it will be the first time an Akram goes to his pocket for the afternoon. Yellow card, Bozanowski. Wanderers play quickly, Fraser.
A whole lot different. That yellow card for Bozanowski. For the one in the first half. Shikluna or Bozanowski, same thing. Got half a yard, yanked him back with the shirt. Just a free kick against Shikluna. This time against Bozanowski, it's a yellow card. Go figure.
Another change for Western Sydney. It will be Dylan Shikluna making way. Owen Luol for his 9th appearance. Consolation goal in the end last weekend against Newcastle, but looked lively when coming on, Luol.
Let's see, Cryer dropped back into midfield. Wow. Versus Caltech. Now that's got a little bit of promise as a 1v1 duel. Caltech re-established himself of late, and certainly today. Superb performance.
Play Bozanowski skips away from trouble. That pass left a little skinny for Tom Lawrence to reach. Let's look at the Paramount Plus player index. Panazopoulos topping the charts. Centre half pairing in Phil Kenkar. Not too far behind. Ball over the top. Here is Kenkar put to the test. Shamoon's had a good game as well. It's a defender's game, and that's a little late contact. Simmons quickly back to his feet. Good to see. Wild chase. Does very well to track this down. Now the ball needs to be good as well. Centering ball is very, very good to find Ryan Fraser. And that was a near perfect moment for the Wanderers. The substitutes combining, and that is close. Kolakovsky Strides forward. Now Lawrence. The touch to Kaczarski. Airs of offside. Kolakowski, no though. Blocked well, Lawrence. Hands on the ball. Play really starting to open up now. So the crowd rising. The RBB. I can feel it building. Barbarousis. Urging Simmons forward. Kanka. Pryor has space. Can get the shot away. Blocked Wooden. He's a little sore after that challenge. Hops back into place. Now goes back. Little clip. Kaltak is first to it. Pushed on by Despotovsky. Last couple of minutes of regulation time. Goes back. Will waste no time. The Wild rises. Lovely stuff from the substitute. Really big moments building for the Wanderers.
Kaltak again. Just incredible. I mean, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Gersbach with the delivery. It's a great jump and header from Lual. And the arms are on and over, tip the hands. And people are reacting to the replay that's not on the big screen. The question is, if there's any contact with the hands, I'm not sure. But just before that, Ryan Fraser, with beautiful movement off the ball, gets to the near post, beats everyone except the post. Ball bounces out for another accrual of that start. Does it hit the hands? So it's onto his head by the looks of things to me. We'll see. Conclusive proof we're looking for. I think it's gone straight to his head. I'm talking literally, not his great performance.
There's a decision, no penalty, no handball. Eagle-eyed, Harper, spot on. What a night Brian Kaltak is having.
He's back to his very best. Close there too. And the Wanderers must be wondering, what do we got to do?
Seventh corner of the night for Western Sydney. That swung in nicely. Good shape. Oh. Well, it's building.
Well, finally, they threatened from a corner, Grace. They've had a few, but that was Gersbach swinging it in, and they had two, making a real nuisance of themselves. Lual and Cryer forcing another deflection.
They haven't scored from a corner this season. The delivery, Thurgate. Nearer post, dropped into a more dangerous area. Lual could be the hero off the post. Still alive for Western Sydney. Pressure a lead for just a moment. Thurgate again, the re-delivery.
I think this is now getting beyond a joke, isn't it? I mean, they've mucked up chances, they've looked ponderous at times, not just tonight but this season. But never has a team hit the post more than the back of the net. Not like this, Bob.
Well, hasn't he looked good since coming on? Thurgate's delivery again. Up the Wanderers players away. With Perth's defence.
Kaltak the only one to respond.
Thurgate, another chance to recycle. Splayed the kick on that occasion. Kaczarski will drive into space. His pass can't quite find Despotovsky, and now Fraser. He has space in front. Numbers retreated for Perth. Fraser! Oh, it's a lovely save from Matt Sutton, and how important that is for Perth Glory.
Amazing finish here. And the people who braved the heat and the poor form of the home team are making a hell of a noise. Well, hasn't he been fabulous since taking the field? What a great save too, in fairness to Matt Sutton.
Another chance, Western Sydney, bodies on the ground, Sutton's up again, Fraser will get another chance in Trump. Ryan Fraser, that's a long way from Aberdeen, but Ryan Fraser has announced himself to the A-League. It's a goal on debut, the RBB's gone mad, and this is going a long way to find the result for his new club, Western Sydney lead.
Well, with the Sydney Derby 6 days away, Ryan Fraser delivers this on the Harvey Norman replay. There's a way to introduce yourself to a new fan base, but there are a few better ways than this. His substitution, his presence on the field singularly changed the course of the game. He's hit some beautiful crosses, he's hit the post, and now surely he's won it for the hapless Wanderers. Couldn't buy a goal for neither love nor money. And in the searing heat of a Parramatta summer day, from the UK to Cumberland to the back of the net, and maybe, surely, 3 points for the Western Sydney Wanderers.
What moments, what scenes. Ryan Fraser, his quality is undeniable. Too much power behind the strike. A chance to reply in kind. Stefan Kolikovsky, what can Perth produce? Well, that was shaping up nicely, still with a chance. Well, hasn't this game come to life? In stoppage time, 5 minutes. 3 of those have elapsed. Inside the last 2 minutes of a game that's meandered and wandered. But not all those who wander are lost, and this has finally come to life. Here comes Barbarousis. Well, an option in the middle. Look at Fraser tearing. If the pass can find it, doesn't have the leverage. Despotovsky, and Abrams takes a little tumble in the middle of the park himself.
Well, Wanderers with sheer energy now. I don't know where that's come from, by the way, but looking to push for a sealer. They're leaving a lot of space in behind. Midfield needs to sit and patrol. Kolikovsky's look dangerous. There's still Jaden Kucharski. Can never rule him out, even with not much time remaining. And the Wanderers fans are singing again.
Kucharski, nice touches. Lozanovsky, busy this afternoon. Straight pass through the little help on to Freeney. Too much behind it. Or it's Thomas. Eat away at these moments, these seconds, inside the final minute at Combank Stadium.
Thì lặp với ai?
Wood up. Zanovsky helps on Kucharski. Had a little bit of promise about it. Caltac. Perth need to move quickly. Final 30 seconds. Nice pass to find Kucharski's feet. Has numbers forward. Kucharski cuts inside. Panizopoulos is to ground. Tom Lawrence lines things up. Delightful pass from Lawrence, and it's just gone begging at the far post. Huge moment, Kolikovsky.
Incredible from Lawrence, skipping through. Beautiful touch, and the pass. How did he even know that was on? Eyes in the back of his head. And just beyond the reach of Kolikovsky, who's been really good on return to top-flight football off the bench.
Final change for the night. Costa Barbarousis makes way. Jared Carluccio in perhaps a little bit of a time filler just to see out these final seconds.
Chill man.
So all in the hands of the referee. Goes back. Well, it's been immense. Still looking to play forward. Fraser tumbles through Shamoon. Just to go in the clock here. What a pickup. He is Ryan Fraser. Last kick of the game, you would think. Little glance at the watch from the referee. There it is. The Van Egmond era has arrived. It's an important win at home and a changing of the guard that sees the Wanderers move off the foot of the table. 3 points at home, thanks to an emphatic finish from Ryan Fraser late in the piece. Top performances from Brian Caltat denied the Wanderers for a large part of the game, and at the other end, Lawrence Thomas was immense. Moments for Perth that they didn't make the most of, but scenes as limbs leapt to life in the RBB. There is life in this team yet.
Telung komentar. Mexico Mexico. Kaya datang Jawa. Google Translate kan. Nontonnya sekitar palingnya ramai ini. 4.000 deh. Mexico lah ramai.